Josh Fox is a film director and environmental activist who is probably most notable for his opposition to fracking. As of lately, he's been very vocal and very visible in his opposition to this Dakota Access Pipeline, the pipeline that is being constructed in North Dakota that is threatening to poison the Missouri River, the water source for millions of people. So recently, he was being interviewed by TruthDig, and he talked about the issues going on there, and of course, it got political. And he shared some of his thoughts about Jill Stein and the Green Party.
I wouldn't have a hand in electing Donald Trump. No way. And Jill Stein, I'm sorry. It's immoral what she's doing. Because, I don't care if I say this on the air for the very first time. I spent 8 years building the environmental movement. I spent 8 years coast to coast building the fracking movement. I went to 250 cities. I did not see the Green Party have a significant hand in the building of that movement. I see them pop up every 4 years and run for president. Mm-hmm. And I see, and that's not organizing. Remember what I said. Every single thing that we've won in this movement, we've won because of organizing. Yeah. And I don't think that they spend a lot on organizing. Now, I was on the phone with Gloria, I forgot her last name, Jill Stein's campaign manager. And I said to her in June, I will go out and campaign and build the Green Party with you coast to coast for the next 4 years if you drop out in swing states. I will build personally on the ground the Green Party with you for the next 4 years if you drop out in swing states. You know what their answer was? No answer. I asked the question 3 times over email. I can show them to you. They said, oh, well, we don't really think we have a strategy to win. We're trying to get to 5%. I said, doesn't it bother you that 5% could end up electing Donald Trump? They said, well, we think Trump is worse than Clinton. I mean, this is lunatics. This is lunacy. So don't tell me. And Jill Stein, Jill Stein is a millionaire in her own right. She's a doctor. She's got $100,000 worth of stock in Merck. She's got holdings in oil and gas companies. This is not a person who is a moral leader. This is a person who came in and decided to co-opt Bernie Sanders' movement, and I understand why Bernie Sanders is not supporting her. Now, morally, the positions I agree with, for sure. And morally, I do not agree with Hillary Clinton. I can tell you some stories about that, too. We offered Hillary Clinton a plan to end shale gas in 5 to 8 years, written by Cornell scientists. They said, talk to the hand, right? So they're both wrong. They're both out of control, and they're both playing games with Americans who deserve better.
Why do you think?
But the truth of the matter is that they don't have a plan to win the presidency. They're going out and saying that they do. That's dishonest. And I remember, I voted for Ralph Nader in the year 2000 in the state of New York. There's about 1 million people dead in Iraq that would not be dead today if Al Gore was the president, if there weren't 250,000 Green Party votes in Florida, and if there weren't, 40,000 Green Party votes in New Hampshire.
All right, that was a mouthful.
Yeah.
From Josh Fox.
Now, this is a long clip. This is a long video because he's being interviewed.
Right.
Prior to these statements, he's just talking about the Dakota Access Pipeline and I guess his views on, justice nationally. And he gave some historical references and showed how the Dakota Access Pipeline situation mirrors some other issues with justice and civil rights. And he's making a lot of sense. I was pretty much in agreement with a lot he said about that issue. Then he started talking about
Jill Stein
and the Green Party.
And the Green Party. He begins by saying that when it comes to Jill Stein, what he thinks she's doing is immoral.
Woo! See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm okay if you say, this is what I disagree with.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't like the direction of the campaign. I feel the campaign wasn't doing enough.
Right.
Fine, but to then say it's immoral.
To say that her running for president is immoral, and he said that he spoke with somebody in the campaign, maybe, and he
campaign manager.
Yeah, and he said that he wanted them to drop out of the swing states, which, as we learned from Cenk Uygur, every state is a swing state. So I don't know exactly what he was talking about, but she needed to drop out of the swing states because it's just this election is too consequential. We cannot allow Trump to get elected. So he's very incensed that they didn't do that Jill Stein is not dropping out of the race because she cannot win. That's the vision that he's selling, that she cannot win and that she has no plan. she has no plan for winning as well.
What?
Now, again, I said that he was being intellectually dishonest. Is that a correct statement, that she had no plan? That she has no plan?
So you mean to tell me she didn't live stream on the debates, and which got a lot of views?
Yeah.
She didn't make any media appearances. She wasn't trekking across the nation,
city to city,
small, large and small.
Right.
She came to Columbia, South Carolina.
Right.
She came to Spartanburg, South Carolina.
South Carolina, man. Yeah. Red state. Right?
Yeah, very.
And also, probably one of the most pivotal points of her candidacy is about education, is about bailing out student debt. That's what she talked about. That was the plan, because she talked about how if, I think it was the 43 million people that have student debt right now, if they get the message that, hey, we're trying to bail out student debt, okay, we're trying to erase it. 43 million Americans voting for Jill Stein in a three-way race. That's a win. That's a win. So how is that not a plan for winning the election?
Well, I mean, your platform.
She had a plan.
Actually, your platform.
Your platform is the plan. Yeah, you're trying to sell your vision to the American people.
So she doesn't have a position or a healthcare platform or environmental platform or a criminal justice platform. You gonna tell me that?
He's just being.
He's making it sound
he's
like
just being disingenuous right there, man.
But why? Okay, we can go into why we think he's being disingenuous.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's being disingenuous? Well, who does he support for president?
Hillary Clinton.
Oh, that makes sense.
Hillary Clinton.
So he's having what you maybe can call a Rebecca Watson moment.
Yes.
Oh,
trying to make himself feel
because
better.
What did he bring up as some sort of contradiction in regards to Jill Stein and maybe her platform or her positions? What did he bring up?
Well, he brought up a lot, but he said that
mainly.
Yeah. Well, he said that they the Green Party pops up every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do anything else but pop up during presidential elections, which again is another lie that he just told, because they run all the time. They run for many state offices, local offices, county office. I mean, they run all the time, everywhere.
But what's the main obstacle in them, like the Green Party establishing some sort of foundation, or even, I guess, continuing, their footwork?
Well, they have to have support,
right?
Okay, they have to have money.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have media coverage.
So what you're saying is, like, they don't have a lot of help.
No,
and it affects their sustainability.
Yes, because if you want to sustain this other option that we all want, that many of us want, then you actually have to vote for it and you have to support it. You have to cultivate it, right?
No. It just falls out of the sky like magic.
Yeah. Think about how much money it takes to sustain the corruption that is a daily part of our lives, that is a daily part of our economic system and our political system. How much money does it take to sustain that kind of stuff?
A lot of money. So wouldn't it take at least a tenth of that? At least right? A tenth of that in order to, I guess, act as some sort of counter agent to that.
He also talked about, we talked about how he said they have no plan to win. But he also talked about how she, again, about this immoral comment, saying that she's not a moral leader because she has mutual funds. He called it, he referenced Merck, but actually her husband has stock in Merck, not her. But anyway, even if she did, she has mutual funds in the areas that she has, criticized all the time. The banking industry, fossil fuel industry, she has mutual funds. Now, let's explain mutual funds, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mutual funds, you don't get to decide what the mutual fund is invested in, what stock holdings are in that mutual fund. Now, you can decide if you want to do business with this mutual fund or not. You can do that. You can do that. But what they invest in, that's not up to you.
That's up to your broker.
That's up to your broker. Exactly. That's up to the fund. So I would agree that, I would prefer her not to have these stock holdings. I would prefer nobody to have these stock holdings, right?
But if that is I guess the only thing that you could find, something comparatively so minuscule, if you find that to be immoral,
and then you said she's not a moral leader because of that,
but then you support Hillary Clinton,
like I was like, and he recognizes the problems with Hillary Clinton. He stated a few in this video,
but never called her immoral.
Yes,
because guess what? That would make his position immoral.
Oh, so he would be immoral.
He wouldn't have a moral foundation. Her. Yeah, it just seems it's just another one of these cases where they're holding the Green Party to a higher standard.
Yes,
actually a much higher standard.
Much higher standard, because let's see, it's not moral to reign terror all across the globe, right? To destabilize different areas, to try to drum up a war with Russia. That's not really moral. That's not a moral position, right?
To sign off on weapons deals to countries that use children as soldiers. Right. That's not moral.
To vote for the Patriot Act. These we could do this all day long, and say how Hillary Clinton is not immoral, how she is not ethically sound.
But he's cool with that.
He's cool with that. Jill Stein has holdings, mutual fund holdings with fossil fuel companies or the banking industry. But she's not a moral leader.
But is she accepting money from them to run her campaign?
Oh, but Hillary Clinton is. So Hillary Clinton has a direct link to these fossil fuel companies, private prison companies, fossil fuel. What I already said, fossil fuel, but the banking, Wall Street,
healthcare,
private healthcare. But she's not immoral. And finally, not finally, but another, Jill Stein co-opted Bernie Sanders' movement. She co-opted Bernie Sanders' movement.
First of all, it wasn't Bernie Sanders' movement.
The hell it was. And
even Bernie Sanders has said that.
Yes. So why is he trying to paint the picture that it was Bernie Sanders? Now, we agree that Bernie Sanders did a magnificent job for this movement because he made it national, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, he brought a lot of more people into it.
Kind of gave it more credibility.
Oh, yeah. A lot more steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this started way before Bernie Sanders ever announced his candidacy for 2016. Shoot, it started before the Occupy Wall Street. Started before that. So how did she co-opt Bernie Sanders' movement when she started running for president in 2015?
Again, he's trying to paint her to be some sort of vulture.
Yeah, exactly. And I've heard this kind of stance before. She started running for president, like I said, I believe it was around the summer, maybe early fall of 2015, before the first Democratic debate, well before the first Democratic primary, and oh my gosh, well before the Democratic convention. So how did she just come out of nowhere and be like, oh, hey, Bernie Sanders fans, hey, it's me over here. You can come with me now. No, she's been here this whole time. But the media wasn't covering her. The media sure as hell wasn't covering her, right? But so she's new to you, so that means
exactly.
She's a vulture.
Exactly. He's kind of like, he's establishing this kind of like global perspective on the Green Party just from his kind of limited experience,
yes,
or his limited viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
and again, she's threatening swing states.
And then he said something like, now I understand why Bernie Sanders didn't support Jill Stein. I was like, what do you mean you understand?
Yeah, did he
say something about, like,
I missed that.
Exactly. Did he say something specific about that? No, you're just making something up. And I was like, actually, Bernie Sanders said from the beginning he would support the Democratic nominee.
From the very beginning. He said he would not run third party. He would always support the Democratic nominee. So it wasn't like a shock that he came out in support of Hillary Clinton.
Oh, what again? It
was a disappointment.
Again,
yes,
he had to use Bernie Sanders' name to give his point more credibility. He just had his position and then projected it onto Bernie Sanders to make his point sound more reasonable when it wasn't.
No. And then the last thing that he said was about Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader.
He voted for Ralph Nader.
He did.
There's maybe a little bit of guilt oozing out of him right now, but it's unnecessary guilt.
So he feels responsible for the Iraq War.
For the yeah.
Because if the Green Party didn't get all those votes in Florida, well, Al Gore would be the president, and we surely wouldn't have gone to war with Iraq, and there wouldn't be over 1 million dead people there. We wouldn't have blown up the country.
Again, we have another instance of tunnel vision.
Yes. Again. Now, yes, George Bush wanted to go to war with Iraq. Yes. But who allowed him to do it?
Well, Democrats. Democrats overwhelmingly voted for the Iraq War.
There were only like a handful of Democrats that didn't vote for it. So Republicans and Democrats gave George Bush the authority to go to war with Iraq. But you feel guilty for voting for Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader, who only garnered like 2.7% of the popular vote. Ralph Nader, forget Ralph Nader, over 100 million people did not vote in the 2000 election.
Why not blame them?
Yeah. Al Gore didn't win his home state.
And then what about the shenanigans in Florida? There's so many factors involved in why that election turned out that way. And then even after the election, it would have been inconsequential that if Gore would have won, because the Democrats voted for the Iraq War. And that's what he used as his reasoning for why the Green parties spoil elections, which turns out to be not true.
Donald Trump is so scary that you must vote for corruption, sustained corruption, war even. You have to vote for this other candidate because Donald Trump is the same as Hitler or Kim Jong-il.
And I didn't like something that Jill Stein's campaign manager said. And the Green Party has some deficiency, so therefore, vote Hillary Clinton.
They don't have sustained support.
Just vote Hillary Clinton.
They don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of exposure. They haven't been able to grow the party at the rate that you want to see it grown at. So, with all that being said, you can't. Well, first they can't. They can't compete in swing states.
No. Not only that. Not only can't they compete, their existence, especially during election years, their existence is immoral.
Oh, they're spoilers.
They're spoilers.
They're only in it.
Immoral spoilers.
Yeah. Now see, he threw out that 5% margin too because they want to get to 5%. Now, if you've never heard of this before, if the Green Party or the Libertarian Party garners 5% of the popular vote, well, that means they qualify for ballot access. That means that they won't have to spend time going to court or coming up with these petitions to be included on the ballot for every single state.
That would kind of free them up a bit.
That would free them up. Yeah, not only for presidential elections, but for congressional elections. That's national, state, local, everything. They'll be on the ballot. They're on the ballot just like a Democrat or just like a Republican, right? So that's pretty important, right? Right? That's pretty important, right? Also, they will qualify for matching funds from the federal government, millions of dollars, to help aid them and their candidates running for office, national, local, whatever.
So, well, maybe that might make it a little easier, for him to see the work that's being done. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like if look, how are you supposed to grow the party, right? How are you supposed to grow the party
without support,
and without being guaranteed to be on the ballot, without millions of dollars in federal funding? Again, we said before that it takes so much money to sustain corruption. It's going to take a lot of money to combat it too, and you can't combat it without voting for the other option. Because if the other option isn't on steady footing, if they don't have the ground to actually compete in the battle, then how can they actually ever win the war?
So Fox essentially has the same position as Cenk Uygur.
Yes.
He thinks that we can beat the establishment by electing the establishment.